I'll start.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kenny. I'm co-founder and creative director at Like Charlie. So I mainly take care of the art, the visual stuff, and together with Stephen, some project management as well.
And Stephen.
And I'm Dagmar, the other co-founder. I'm the narrative designer and writer. Some creative directing, and I do the business management too. But I'd like to think of myself as a writer, the storyteller.
All those hats.
So many.
I am Dries. I am, I guess, the audio engineer. I make sure everything makes a sound, and everywhere you look, it has a sound. I'm also a programmer, so I tend to do cool stuff with audio and programming. In the future, I tend to do a lot more programming, so it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, Dries is joining us full-time real soon.
Yeah.
In a month, about a month.
Yeah, in a month.
Yes.
Even less.
Right.
In a month.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'm Steven. I'm freelance. I'm freelancer helping Like Charlie do the initial game design. And throughout the development of the game, I've been consulting or coaching them on game design and project management. And as Kenny said, he's kind of the one that is continuing the project management as we go. And now my job mainly is testing the game and reporting bugs. And so I help out wherever I can at this point.
Glad to know you all. And how did you come together?
Who wants to answer? Yeah, Kenny.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
So maybe Kat should quickly introduce herself as well, because I don't want to skip
I
her.
missed Kat, sorry.
No worries.
No problem. Well, I'm Kat. I'm a new 3D artist who recently joined the team. I mainly create visual stuff like models and environments, and yeah, that's actually about it. So mainly visual stuff.
All right.
And I'm Christy. I'm a community developer.
That's really short, but okay.
Just the one keeping it all together for us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Keeping us sane.
Keeping our introductions short as well and not talk about beer. But okay.
The reason that we're here today as well. Like without Christy, there would not be.
Okay. So your question. So Dagmar, Dries, myself, the programmer who isn't here, Alex, and Stephen, all worked at the same company before we even started working on Marie's Room. Then we started working on Marie's Room. I did together with Dagmar. And I guess, they were involved, and Dries, of course, as well. He did the music for Marie's Room. And Stephen did some testing, and I asked him occasionally questions about game design as well. Yeah. And
I
then
remember late talks about programming strategies and stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I always like implemented something and programmed something for Marie's Room, and just hit the wall pretty hard with my nose. And then I asked for Dries for help, like, how could I do this better? He never saw any of my code or visual scripting thing, maybe luckily. But he explained what I had to do, and then I did it. So yeah, that was fun.
We had some back and forth on the UI, if I remember correct. I think that's about all of it that I did on Marie's Room.
You gave some feedback, I remember. But okay. So after that was released, we started, Dagmar and I started the company, and like one by one, they just like joined us again gradually as freelancers, but still part of the team, because I think we'll stay a team for like a long time. We like making games together. We kind of found each other that way, and that's pretty cool. Later, Christy joined us because we definitely needed help with like marketing and community management and stuff.
Talking to people.
Yeah, we didn't know how to talk to people.
That's why we always stick together, right?
And then a little bit later, Kat joined as well because we needed help with art because Ghost on the Shore is a lot bigger than Marie's Room is. So we definitely needed help on that part as well. And that's the whole team. Wart wasn't mentioned yet, but Wart
he's on his way, by the way. He's going to join.
He's joining. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll leave the introduction for himself.
It's just like somebody needs to put the kids to bed, you know.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. So Wart is Dagmar's husband. So that's the context there. But he'll introduce himself maybe. But yeah, that's about it, I guess.
Good times.
Good times.
Good times.
I think we can also start with one of the most popular questions we get anywhere is what inspired Ghost on the Shore? But first, let me say hi to the Wolf Detective. Hello.
Hello, welcome.
Hey, welcome.
Okay, take it away. What inspired Ghost on the Shore?
I think that's going to be a question for me to answer. So after we decided that we weren't done telling stories, Kenny and I, and that we were going to make another game, we had to do some brainstorming about, okay, what is this game going to be about? What are we going to do? And then I remembered a dream that I had in which I had died. And I had become a ghost, and I was still roaming around the house that I lived in. My family was still there, but they couldn't hear me, they couldn't see me, I couldn't get to them. And they were grieving, and I wanted to comfort them, but I couldn't. You know, I couldn't. There was this invisible barrier. It was horrible. I wrote it in my little notebook, and I forgot about it until we realized we needed to make a new game, or wanted to make a new game. And then I saw the trailer for the film Jamie Marks is Dead, and the tagline to that trailer or the film was how far would you go to be remembered? And I love that line so much because it's I love it when stories start from emotions. Like with Marie's Room, it was about hunger and the embarrassment about it. Like embarrassment is such a strong feeling, and it can drive you to extreme measures. You know, like what can it make you do? How far will you go? And, you know, can it ruin relationships? Is there a way back from it? And for Ghost on the Shore, it became about being remembered. In the first place, being seen. And then when you're seen, you want it to last as long as possible. So what will you do to not be forgotten? How far will you go? And then I conceived a story around it, you know, with the character Riley and Josh, and then I pitched it to Kenny, and when he was on board, and we started fully developing the whole story and the whole scene, and we asked the other people to join our team and to think of the concept, and because not every game starts with a narrative idea, far from it. I mean, Marie's Room started with a room that Kenny had made. And our next game's, I'm not going to talk about that yet, but it started from something entirely different. But Ghost on the Shore did start from that narrative idea, and we took it from there to develop the whole game design, starting from there. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
it does to me.
Yeah.
I've heard the stories a few times now.
Well, I didn't. To be honest, this is the first time that I hear about it. But I think it's to pick up on it. I think it's amazing how a whole game or a whole idea can come from like a dream and a sentence that you read somewhere. It's insane.
Hmm.
Yeah, I love insanity.
Hey.
That's another tagline.
It's also about a feeling, I guess. Like you have these ideas always accompany this image or this vivid imagination thing, like, and that encapsulates like the whole sentence. And when you write that down in your book, or you it's there, but when you pick that up and you read your previous game ideas, you're like, oh wow, yeah, it all comes flooding back. Like, yeah, wasn't it cool with
Mm.
that stuff? And
Yeah,
Yeah,
then you start associating stuff, and then
Mhm.
oh yeah, this from that. Huh?
Yeah, and what I like about that part is once you get the other people involved as well. Like you can brew an ID by yourself, and that's
Mhm.
amazing, or can be amazing.
Mhm.
But then once you start sharing it, and it develops into something different, but maybe even better than you would have imagined, that's where the fun part starts, I think.
Yeah,
I will never
maybe we
forget
can.
when we. It's not about Ghost on the Shore, but the Flemish game that we worked on together.
Mhm.
And that was the first time for me. I was conceiving of all these characters, and I had this like insane amount of Pinterest board stuff. And then Kenny made the first character, and it was in the scene, and it was like moving. And I was like, "Oh my god, it's alive! You know, it's real." So yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like once the other people start working on it, and they make it so much better than you could have dreamt or thought of. That's a really great feeling.
What I really like, and I really like about the story is how you said that like you had this dream, and like you said, you write it down, you forget about it, and then you see a sentence and you write it down and you forget about it. And if you have this kind of notebooks and you go through them, at some point you start seeing a through line of like kind of an idea that keeps ruminating, like keeps going in your head, and you might not be conscious of it, but sometimes there's a team in there, and then you really have the need to do something with that team. I really like when that happens, when you catch yourself going back to the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think as a writer, I don't know if I can speak for everybody, but as a writer, after a while you start to I don't want to say the same thing, but you catch yourself being prone to certain types of projects or characters or themes, and then like at one point we were like, oh my god, everything Dagmar writes is, you know, she's always in trouble with her mother. Like, what's up with Dagmar and her mother? I'm like, oh god, do I have a problem with my mother? but I don't. Like, then I talked to a writer friend, and she was like, no, Dagmar, we want our characters to be alone, and when you want a character to be alone, the first thing you do is you take away the mother, and then the character is alone. And I was like, okay, it's okay.
I have a baby emergency. I'll be right back.
All right.
Okay.
I recognize those things, like and same thing with music. Like, just I always end up playing the same keys or the same musical ideas over and over again. It's just, I don't know, it just gravitates towards that. I think in the bigger scope of things, that's also part of your personal voice, your creative voice, and it encapsulates more than one idea, of course. And everybody's a multifaceted person, but still, like, everybody has their own kind of. I don't know.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's great, so that you can like I think the stories that we want to tell, I mean, me in stories, Kenny, the way that he shapes it visually, and then Dries now, even Steven, I forgot what I wanted to say. Oh yeah, we feel the same kind of stories, and I feel like I can't explain it, but I feel like you can discern a like Charlie story from it's different because of who we are and how we tell stories together. And I'm not saying there's not other people out there who also could tell or make like Charlie games, but I just love how that is such a thing that you can't grasp. You know, it's like it's something that's alive, and we get to work with it, but it's
Yeah.
not really ours or something.
That's true.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
each
and
team
we're really
member
fortunate.
adds something to it, which I wanted to emphasize. Like, of course, Dagmar and Kenny is the main like driving force behind the story and the artistic side and everything. But Kat has put a little something of her own story in the game. I don't have like a specific thing, but I feel like I have a lot of that I can give feedback, and this feedback has sometimes been useful, or some
Well,
ideas have been implemented.
You're making sure that the biggest part of the game is there. You're taking care of the community.
Oh yeah.
You're taking care of the players. So what's more important than that?
Oh yeah, and of course, and our players have helped us out a lot as well. They have named Riley's boat. They have done some like handwritings for secret notes they can find.
And then don't forget Abby.
Yeah, the slogan.
We have a
Yeah.
really great slogan.
Um,
Which I don't know if I think Dark
the
Nugget
artist name as well.
and the Wolf Detective are new, so you don't know. We have like a coffee cup in the game with a cute little piggy logo on it, and we needed a slogan, so we asked our community to think of like funny, cute slogans, and the winner was "You'll be bacon for more." So that was really fun, and we really love that. So I think, and we're gonna try to continue that. If we have like something we're missing, then we'll find a way to give the community an opportunity to leave a little mark of themselves in the game. We have a question from the Wolf Detective about the future plans and if we are going to continue making cozy games.
Yeah.
I actually like that he says that, because that is actually very important for like Charlie games is the environment. But maybe I should let Kenny talk about that.
Oh, you mean about our dynamic we have? Or
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we're doing the same with Ghost, but it started with Marie, I guess. We just didn't realize it back then. But I had created this like very cozy, nice and warm room where players wanted to stay and feel comfortable. And then Dagmar came into the picture, and she wrote like this devastating story and like pretty harsh and brutal story almost. Like
I can't help it. I'm sorry.
People died.
But it's mother issues, right?
But only the mother issues. But it worked. Like it worked. It captivated players, and the dynamic of being somewhere you feel at home, and then you get punched in the gut by the heart-wrenching story. It kind of worked, and we're trying or doing our best with Ghost as well to do the same or have the same kind of vibe to it, like the islands where you want to wander around, get lost in them, and just take in the scenery, but at the same time feeling that there's something wrong and that there happened some things in the past that you would rather not know, maybe. But yeah, that's part of the identity of Like Charlie as well, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And having that together with the music as well, because we're investing a lot in sound design and music as well. But maybe Dries should talk about that a little more.
Hello. Yeah. Well, we do our best to kind of accommodate that vibe very much, and we it's the same thing with trying to make our own thing, do our own mark with it. But especially for Marie's room, we were very very close together in what we wanted. You actually came to me like, I want specific music for Marie's room, and I know you can help me with that. And I'm not sure what you're gonna do, but I'm sure it will be good. So we had these kind of sessions, and we worked together on does this work? How does this sound? Is this the feeling of the room or the persons in it? And I don't know. We, especially for Marie's room, we were very much focused on very authentic, close-up acoustic sounds to make it feel warm, like the wood and the strings and the real feel of being close to a cozy musician doing his thing. We tried to carry that over, and I guess that really worked. About the coziness itself, I think that's something we've come back to and we keep finding important. Like, even when we're talking about design and stuff, we come back to that because like some of our inspirations come from all over the place, like what kind of music we listen to. But I mentioned this before to Kenny, like I'm also kind of fond of like these great illustrated children's books where you come back to and it's just nice to open that book and just be there again and be in that space. And that's something I think we like to carry with us.
Yeah, yeah, and that's something that players really appreciate is the beautiful environment because they just like being there. And I think for the story, this is something that I keep saying because I really believe it's true. Is that if you want to tell, like if you take Marie's Room for example, it's about kids in high school being hungry and there's horrible things happening because of it. If you know you're going to play a game about children being hungry, and you know it's going to be horrible, and you kind of like brace for impact because I'm going to play a serious game. It's like you watch a serious movie. Like I have to be, I have to pay attention and I have to like be careful because it's going to be horrible. And whereas if you're in this beautiful environment and you're cozy and like, oh, this is nice, this is beautiful, wow, I like being here, and then bam, because then you're relaxed and then I can tell my story. Because if you brace for impact, there's nothing I can do. The story's not going to come in. It's going to stay out there because people are like, I'm not going to get hurt. I'm not going to let it in.
We
And
make
that's
them
what
formidable first.
We soften them up and then
And you
And then
want to
bam!
hurt them so much.
it's our passion, our goal.
Yeah. No, it makes sense what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about emotional storytelling, right? You want your player to feel something. I feel that is something why people would want to play like Charlie games, is to feel something. Maybe something they haven't felt before even, you know?
Yeah. I like that particular word, cozy. I think Ghost on the Shore is definitely something very different in Marie's Room in terms of coziness. Like it's not that small, beautiful environment or cozy environment, but it's still a place that you want to be, or at least we try to not be a horrible place, or like it's a beautiful island. The rocks are beautiful. And stuff went down there. And then that's
Mhm.
Yeah, also there we do really a lot of work. We try hard to really make it each scene a place to be with the sound, with the visuals. Like we try to make these little vignettes, these little places where you can chill out. At least that's what I try to do. I just walk around in it, and I'm like, could use more bird here,
Exactly.
or a little bit of wind, or something like that.
if you do this too much, you're going to start doing that in real life, like just walking around. Oh, this could use more bird.
I actually fall into that trap. Like walk around in the city and just stand still, listening to whatever's going on in the city. Like, there's a lot more bass here than I thought there would be.
But I feel we diverted the question just a little
Yeah.
bit. So will there be more cozy games?
Yes.
I'm not sure how much we can tell, but yes, simple answer is yes. So yeah.
We love doing this. So.
We have started the preparations for the third game, but we cannot say anything about that yet. But
he's very excited about it.
But we intend to keep going. That's I think that's the main message. We're not done yet.
Yeah.
And
impact.
speaking about the aesthetics, we have been working on some new footage that will be coming out soon. We're working on a new trailer, and we wanted to show you a little sneak peek of some of the footage, not the whole trailer, of course, but you will see. Let me see if I can share my screen with you.
Exciting. I don't think I've seen this footage.
Ah, you haven't.
Oh, you have to.
Okay, what did you guys think?
Oh, Wart is here.
Hi there.
Yes.
Hi.
Oh,
Hello.
Hey,
Hello,
Mark.
hello.
So that's the other sound designer we were talking about.
Yeah, maybe you can introduce yourself a little bit, Bart.
Well, yeah, my camera doesn't work. I think.
We
Okay, do it audio. Hello, I'm Wart. I'm one part of the audio designing audio stuff team together with Treason. Hi there. Wait. Ah, yeah. Camera on. Oh, God.
there we go. We get the face and
I'm-
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a sound guy, not a video guy. Okay. That's about it, I think. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Grab a pizza and
Join it.
It's,
awesome.
I'll get my last slice as well.
I got a pizza roll.
Oh, thank you, Wolf Detective. That's really nice. He likes the ruins and atmosphere. It's like
Oh, yeah.
aftermath of a rain of rain.
Mhm.
I don't think I know that one. I'll have to look that one up.
Put it on the list.
Mhm. Yeah,
We
we
got
can-
another question, it seems.
Right.
Fate1R, don't know how to pronounce that, but is Marie's Room a complete story already? Are you guys considering a new prequel, sequel, or DLC to the universe?
That's a really interesting one. But for now, I would say no. It's like we finished up that story. We are really grateful that we could tell that story. I think I can speak for the whole team in that part. But we feel that it's like we can do other things, maybe even better things. So we would like to keep that Marie's Room to only that one game. And it will always be a special game to us. It's the one that started everything for the company and for us as a team. And so, yeah, that's about it.
Yep, it's done.
I also have a question from an earlier question from social media that somebody once asked that is Marie's Room and Ghost on the Shore in the same universe?
They
No,
could
that's
be.
interesting.
For the record now.
Yeah, it's not intended to be, but it could be.
Yeah, there's even some like little Easter eggs you will notice.
Oh yeah. That's true.
When you play.
That's true. Yeah.
Wouldn't say it's necessarily in the same universe, but indeed it could be. But there's some references you'll find. So
That's true. I hadn't thought of that.
Okay.
Time.
So the new footage, we've actually been working on some areas you guys haven't seen at all, and we actually haven't talked about the geographics of the areas in the game at all. So maybe Dagmar, you can tell us more about the islands, because there's actually more than one island.
Yeah, there's three. We went from one room to 3 islands. I don't know why we did that. Yes, the Rogue Islands. So they're not a real place. They're like, but they are inspired by real places. Like there's there's some Iceland in there. There's some Norway, some Poland, a bit of the US, and I think a lot of Scotland. Because when I started writing it, I mean, Riley, the lead character, she's all alone on the island. She's like isolated. It's just her on 3 islands, and I didn't know how that felt. So I applied for this residency, on the Isle of Eigg, an island in the Scottish Hebrides. And I got accepted because, I just wanted to be in this little, oh God, what is that called again? Like a shepherd's hut, something. And you could stay there for a week. There's no internet, there's no phone, there's nothing. It's just you and a view of the ocean, which is awesome. And it was an experience. And a lot of those experiences and the conversations I had with the people, the islanders, a lot of that, and my research there, because there was a little archive and a school and stuff, and a lot of that found its way into the writing and onto the island, the Rogue Islands. So that's where the inspiration came from, and within the story, the Rogue Islands are almost like a character. Like they bore witness to so many things and so many people and so many events, and they kind of like they're like brimming with stories, and they want those stories to be uncovered, to be found, and that is why Riley is there. Why she's drawn to the islands. So and that's why soundscape is also like the sound effects that Dries and Bart do are so important, because you feel like the islands really want to tell you something. Something happened here. But it's up to the player to uncover what happened.
Yeah, that's like the same as we did in Marie, but we're doing now in Ghost again. Is like you have the player as a character, but the most important character in our game is almost always the space you're in. Like it's full of story, and more, maybe even more than the characters we put in our games, because they've witnessed it all, the islands. So that's what we're doing with the environmental storytelling and everything you find there. It's all about the environment, almost.
So can we show them something we've been working on the Dark Rogue?
Ah, okay, yeah. Sorry, I was reading the next question.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
That was
But
a very subtle hint.
We
Chrissy.
can't keep this going too long.
We're so professional. Okay, so I guess you can see my screen now.
Oh, wow.
If you played the demo, then to put it into context, that's the first island you arrive on. We have 3 in total. The second one we already showed a lot during the stream that's running on Steam right now. This one we haven't really showed yet, I think. It's the third one, the last one. So maybe I should let Dagmar talk first about what the story goes through, or like in general, maybe.
Yeah, I was just like, I wanted to say something, but I was like, oh no, I can't say that. It's gonna ruin it. So I have to like really think carefully. I do like to think of like the all 3 islands have their own definite character. Like the Big Rogue is like the main island where the most of the islanders, the villages, the fishermen, the farmers, they all live there. That's where the activity went on, and that's also like the big chunk of, like you get into the story and you meet everything and everyone. And then you get to Little Rogue, which is a very small island. It's a Little Rogue, and it's about one specific family. It's almost like a private estate. And then this is like when you get to the end, it's like the climax of the story. And it is the darkest place of all. Yeah, Dark Rogue. But also like in story, in characters, but they're not necessarily, it's not necessarily bad. I mean, there's beauty in this island as well. And I mean, I always thought it like that when I was writing it. And I think Kenny really that really beautifully with this environment. Like it's dark and it's kind of like, you know, it's a bit claustrophobic even, but there's also beauty. And no, I can't say that. I'm sorry. I wanted to say something like, a lot of the mysteries will be uncovered here, you know, like the biggest answers will be found here. Yeah.
Yeah,
This is really hard.
Yeah, I could show more of the island as well, but I don't want to spoil everything just yet.
No.
But like this
is nice.
this image or this view is like a very good indication. Definitely, if you've seen the other islands, what it's compared to, like it's a lot darker, it's more gripping, and I'm not only talking visually then, but also everything we do story wise, and also definitely music, sound, scape wise. It will be pretty different than the first two islands, I would say. I think this is the third one is the different one of the bunch.
What I really like about the writing, and I won't spoil anything, of course, of the islands is that they're very different, but there's some kind of synergy between all three of them, and they kind of need each other to be effective. Like the rogues are one whole, and yes, they're different, but they also have a lot of similarities, and they are interconnected in some interesting ways. And I really like how Kenny approached that as well. That there's parts of this island that feel very different, but it's still the rogues. It's still reminiscent of the earlier islands. So, and Little Rogue is like that as well. It's more similar than this, but it does have its own flavor again. I really like that.
Yeah, and what Steven is saying is very true. It's on a very like geographical level and like you know, society level, like how the villages function, you know, what they do, how they survive, how they live, how they make money, how they lose money, what practices they will resort to survive, etc., etc. But also on a more psychological, symbolic level, like when you get from Big Rogue, you go to Little Rogue, which we call the heart. There's a song called "The Heart of Little Rogue," and then the deeper you dive or delve into the story, into the characters, the deeper you go, and the more you get to the darkness, and the darkness needs some light, and that is what this island represents. Kind of reminds me. It was never my intention or our intention, but it reminds me of Heart of Darkness from Joseph Conrad, or like Apocalypse Now, where you go into the jungle, and the deeper you get, the more gruesome it all gets until you get to the dark heart of the story, and kind of feels the same way here. And it happened in a very natural way because we didn't conceive of it like that. It just happened.
It's also harking back to the idea of islands being like characters, or the environments being characters, almost like brothers or something.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. And our players have been really drawn to the art style, and I have a question for Kenny, that how did you arrive at this art style? Because this is very different from Marie's room.
Yeah, and fun fact, I started out with Marie's room. I didn't want to venture too far from what I did there. But of course, we changed engine in the meantime, and like it's way bigger, like the space is way bigger, so I had to make some sacrifices there as well. But those were kind of challenges to find other ways to do the same thing. So I basically started out from Marie's room, like stylized. I never really want to go too realistic. I'm just more drawn to stylized art. And what I had as a huge inspiration was Manet, like the Impressionist painters, like making your image with like blotches of color, not really blending super realistically or anything. Just like have an impression of the landscape you're building. and that was something that I kept in mind. It kind of changed as well over time. Like if I saw some proof of concept we did 2 years ago, I think now, and it was surprising to say the least to see where we came from, or where I came from visually. It quite evolved over time as well. So it's all pretty natural and organic always. The things I do. I maybe that's weird to say, but I don't really have a clear view of where I'm gonna end up all the time. But it just evolves over time and gets influenced by also story and music. Definitely, I influence myself a lot on music, not only the music that gets created for the game, but also like soundtrack music that I put together, like a playlist for the game, just to get into a certain mood, and then it just evolves.
And Wolf Detective has an additional question. What pieces of media do we draw inspiration from, and what are your favorite games?
Good question.
And when we say pieces of media, you mean like what other media, like film or
Anything-
books or?
I guess so. Wolf Detective,
Anything,
you can specify that in the chat, but I assume games, movies,
Games,
books.
movies.
Yeah.
Can you mention
I already
paintings? Dagmar
I already
spoke about the
mentioned
movie.
paintings and
Mhm.
music. Yeah. And favorite games are basically like I like a lot of just the indie games. I do play like AAA stuff as well, but they are usually so time consuming that I don't really pay too much attention to them. But like the indie games, and then definitely like the narrative games, like Edith Finch's will always be like a big influence on me. Firewatch, Life is Strange. Those are not really deniably my favorite games.
Oxenfree
influenced-
was in the mix as well, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like
Like early on, that was something that was big influence when thinking about what we wanted the dialogue to be. Not that we
mhm,
did the same thing, but really inspired by what they did, and then
yeah.
how
Yeah,
can we do something as good but that fits our game? Kind of that vibe.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's their walk and talk is really great in Oxenfree. I mean, we look to that, like, why does that work and why doesn't it work in other games? Like, how can we learn from that? And I think we looked at Firewatch in that way as well. Like, why do those mechanics work so well? What can we learn from it?
Like inspiration can come from a lot of.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Dan.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Like, there's this one thing. Like we have. I think I can spoil this. We have a ladder mechanic. I don't think that's too big. Like for
Yeah,
that
you can
mechanic,
climb
we looked at early Half-Life. We looked at the Outer Worlds, like which are totally different kind of games, but with the same concept, with the same kind of mechanics, and then look on, all right, what fits our team? Like the ladders in Half-Life, you just run up to them and you go straight up, and it's very arcadey, and that wouldn't fit what we're doing. But like you can watch all types of things and then harden back to what are we doing and pick and choose what fits and then try and stick it together in a way that makes sense for us.
Mhm. And what would you say makes Ghost on the Shore unique and stand out from other games?
I always
It's a
find a
dangerous
very
question.
hard question. I know that.
Well, for me, it's still the thing that that we already talked about so much during this Ask Me Anything. It's just the contrast between the place you're at, like the environment we've created, with the heart-wrenching story. This time with like player influence, because we haven't really talked about that, but you can make dialogue choices, and that will in some way alter it will decide what ending you get and stuff. So that's a big difference for us as well as a team. We haven't done that before. But yeah, that's basically the cozy environment, like we already said, with the hard-hitting story is what makes like Charlie games unique, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for me, when I think about Ghost in the Shore, that makes it really unique, and we're not the only game that tries to capture this, but it's the relationship between the two protagonists is the main mechanic. Like that's the main payoff of the game. Like a lot of games use dialogues to further story progression or get you into a new level and then you play and then or to give you a quest or something like that. But in our game, you execute gameplay and you find pieces of lore, and your payoff is new dialogue. Your payoff is a new interaction between the two protagonists, and the things you do and the things you choose to do and the things you choose not to do or say will influence that relationship as well. And I think that's the most unique thing here, is that our dialogue is front and center, while that's in a lot of games that's like a secondary mechanic to get to other stuff. We really push that to the forefront, and that's like Firewatch as well, right? And Oxenfree as well, and that's why those were big inspirations, because we're all working around the same idea, but we do it differently than they do.
We have a question from X Pro Gamer. Would we ever plan on making horror games? Because sometimes people think that Ghost on the Shore is immediately a horror game, but it's not.
If we ever do, I'm out.
Yeah, well, I wanted to
I
say the
can't
same
stomach
thing.
horror.
Oh no!
It's like
No, me neither.
the game genre I would love to play because I'm really intrigued by it, but I can't play them. It's so I
We're
will
too
probably
scared
never
to
make
ever
them as
make
well.
one.
I tried playing Alien Isolation and I love the game, but
Oh yeah.
I can't get that far in it.
Yeah, I had the
too
same
difficult.
problem. Like I'm very, very fond of System Shock 2, and I love that game way back when. Yeah, and you had a hard time playing that, Kenny.
Even that one I can't play.
But the real horror games, like the last one I played was Penumbra 2. And that was really good, but it was really scary. Like, I don't know, like I never got into like Amnesia and Outlast and
we
all
played
those
Outlast
guys.
together.
Oh yeah, we did.
With your brother. That was amazing.
We needed to be with 3 people, otherwise we just
it's too much to handle.
And all the lights on and
So yeah.
So I guess the
Back in
answer would be no.
we would scare ourselves.
We kind of get rid of the coziness, because the coziness is something we like.
That would work. Like if you make it real cozy, and then Dagmar comes in and like,
Why Dagmar?
Horror story.
you know it would be you, Dagmar.
we're slowly getting to the end of our session. So community guys, if you have any more questions, you can pop them in. I have a few final ones. One of them is
one more funny anecdote actually about horror games.
Go ahead.
Like when we were making sounds and especially music, for like half of the time we had to just stop what we were doing and throw our work away because we were just making flat out horror music.
It's very easy to make music. But,
I'll share some pictures in the meantime.
Oh, nice,
like,
nice.
Guys, your like sound design is insane. Like, because we have some new guys in the community listening to right now, then you probably don't know they make music instruments out of bicycles. They recorded a diaper.
They play one instrument and record another instrument resonating.
Yeah,
like that.
Scratching metal, like hugging bowls of water. Completely insane. So I think the sound design is like very, very unique.
We had this one session where we were rubbing well, how is it called?
Diapers.
What's with the
Diapers,
diapers?
yeah, diapers on all trash cans, like with a few microphones on there.
It was
It was like-
interesting.
Yeah, it was like half an hour, super intense diaper rubbing.
Yeah, we had
One
this
point-
idea. We had this idea of making like a soundtrack and like music and stuff, and then make like textures underneath it to give it like so we made like a whole bunch of textures. We did it with bubble wrap, with a cardboard and a diaper, but yeah, it sounded like vinyl crack of a
Yeah.
vinyl record. So
Really nice.
after we didn't really use it in the soundtrack, but I used it for a hip hop band. They needed like this vinyl records effect. I said, I got the thing.
Oh.
So we used that diaper for that.
Do they know it's a
That was
diaper
interesting.
sound?
Sorry?
Do they know it's a diaper sound?
No, I didn't tell them.
Weird thing was there was actually about 10 minutes where we had to like master the art of diaper rubbing, like really get in there and make it
Yeah.
musical.
You rule.
That wasn't easy.
Oh, I think it was
gone.
gonna say you were ruling the diapers.
Wasn't there like a moment that there was a watermelon involved or a teddy bear to like record sounds like it was going through a head?
Yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah,
was
yeah.
we were
Smart.
trying to do the I think what is
The binaural effect, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
It was a
frozen
binaural
up.
effect, yeah. So
But
we
I
had
don't have pictures of it.
Yeah. You try.
so we tried to have the voice actor, instead of like talking to a microphone, we had him talk to a watermelon with microphones on it. But maybe Wart can tell more about it.
Right. We're tuning a bike here.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this was just trying to
Oh,
get
yeah,
home.
yeah. It is. Oh man, well, that was awesome. Really. There
Yeah,
was,
that was
like
really cool.
some good randomness in that. We should use next time. We should use my mountain bike. It has like bigger spokes. It will give awesome bass tones. That was like a
whole
little
new register.
folding bag. Yeah.
You can make like
You
a
can-
bike orchestra.
Yeah, like
I
all
fi-
bike.
I fixed them that day too because it was a bit broke. So that was a good day. Yeah.
Faith wants to know what kind of program do you use for sound design?
I mainly use
Diapers.
diaper. It doesn't really matter for the purpose of making music. I think like the program is a tool. It's like Word or a text editor or something. It doesn't matter to me. But for the sake of convenience and processing, I use Cubase. I used Cubase for a long time, but since I have been working with that game, I've upgraded to Nuendo, which is like the post-production brother or sister of Cubase. It had like a lot of easy to do processes, like for instance, cutting and rendering voiceovers. That's like a whole lot of single sentences. It can do it really fast while I'm making a cup of coffee. So that's really nice. So I use Nuendo, but for the music it doesn't matter.
And for
I think
sound-
Dries uses another program, right?
Yeah. But usually I just receive most of the sounds you make and you record. So all I have to do is just cut them up and do
Yeah,
some
it's
little
like-
duct taping or something. So I use my DAW, my audio workstation, more like a cutting board or a scratch board. I use Reaper because I don't know, I just fell in love with it, and I'm also a programmer, and just the ease and use of how it's presented, its interface is just what I like. But I agree, I don't think it really matters as long as you get the job done and you feel comfortable working in your program.
Yeah, it shouldn't be like a point of it should like a point of thing. It shouldn't be thinking about that, because like in the movie right now, you're like in this really creative process. So the last thing you have to think about is like the shortcuts of your computer, or where's that record button and stuff. No, you just have to don't think about a computer while you're making music. It's about creativity and having fun and rubbing diapers.
Yes. I love that piano, by the way.
Yeah.
In the end of the day, it's about having fun and rubbing diapers.
Yeah.
Yes, that's like the
Rubbing diapers on trash cans.
That's a beautiful sentiment to end it.
That's gonna be our tagline for now on.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh, we have one other question though.
Yeah, we have
What,
two
what do
actually.
you want players? Oh, I'm sorry.
One from YouTube. We have 5 people in YouTube also.
Okay.
YouTube.
Hi, YouTube.
Hi, YouTube.
I almost forgot.
I couldn't tell my mom.
Yeah, XK Pro Gamer wants to know if we are planning for a Ghost on the Shore number 2 already.
Oh.
Depends how well it does.
I think it's the same answer as Marie's Room. I think
Yeah.
once we finish up a game, we just want to do other better things with different settings or a different setting. I think that's important to all of us, just to keep ourselves fresh on edge and like
A different setting and a different story, different characters, just something different. And
Not to mention how hard the sequel is, like at any rate.
Yeah.
and also, like, I feel for me, like Ghost on the Shore, it's got an ending and it ends. I don't see how you could continue that story. It's done. Just like Marie, it's done.
And to add to that,
exactly.
Dark Nugget would like to know, what do you want players to think of you after finishing the game?
That we like diapers.
You mean like how they see like Charlie, or what?
I think it's more like when they finish the game, what can they take away? What do they think? How do they feel?
Well, the
Something
question
like that.
was, what do you want them to think of you?
Yeah, of you.
Well, I think if they need to think anything of us, I think that's that important what they think of us. It's all about the game. But if they do think something about us, I hope it is that we've put our heart and soul into the game and that it shows. And that's the most important thing to me. That all of the hard work shows, and that the players see that we really care, not only about the game but also about their experience. And I think that's.
And I hope they
what I
also
would say.
experience that we are good storytellers. That it's a unique experience.
Yeah, and I guess what confuses me is the word "you." I mean, like the entire team. Yeah, I think I would love the world to think that we can create a great narrative experience with all the tools that we've talked about, like the art and the sound, and
Like at the
that's
end of
it.
it,
I think.
at the end of it, if they're compelled to come hang out in Discord with the rest of us, that would be great. Like, that's a good result, right?
Yeah. And also, that the team we have, we're really fortunate that we found each other, I think, because we understand each other really well. We complement each other really well. And I hope that shows as well when you're hanging out with us, that we're just a bunch of friends, basically, making games. And hopefully good games.
Yeah, but I also want to add to that, like a bunch of friends, but there's always space and room for new friends. I mean, we have cats, we've had interns. We do try to find the people that we feel, I mean, you have to have the skills too, but we do try to find people that will inspire us and complete our team even more, I guess.
And that they feel like Charlie.
And our community is great also. Like we Discord.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah, I wanted to say that the community is awesome also. Discord is pretty new, but we already have so many people and some great conversations, and people are contributing to the game. So that's great.
Yeah, that's true.
It keeps us going, I think. among
Yeah,
other
it's
things.
true. I mean, it happened so many times. Like the other day, I was writing an application form for something, and I needed information. And Christy was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna ask, our community. They'll know."
Yeah.
And they did. They knew. They helped us along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have 2 final questions. One of them is a very funny, weird question. One of them is an actual question. Alright. So first question: do you believe in ghosts?
Yeah, we've had that question before,
Yeah.
and like in the beginning, I was very hesitant. I was like, "Nah, I don't know," but I'm just gonna say, "Yeah, I do."
What about
But
the
that's
rest?
just me. It's not like Charlie, but I do.
Yeah.
I don't.
You don't?
That's like the story writer and the programmer.
Yeah. Does anybody else want to share?
And I'm
I do,
a
I
technical
think.
artist, so I'm somewhere in the middle.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't believe in ghosts, like in ethereal beings living beyond death and stuff, like the literal thing of a ghost, no. But I do think that people can stay with you once they're dead, and that you create your own version of someone out of memories, and that version can stay with you, and that's kind of like a ghost, I guess. But not literal sense, no.
No, yeah, ghosts can be like ghosts from the past, memories, things that
Yeah.
haunt you, that are feelings, emotions.
I know those.
Yeah. It's not a white sheet drifting on the wind, for sure.
And one final question, and this is going to require some creative answers. Do you believe in islands?
No, they don't exist. It's
No.
not possible.
It's all public hopes.
It's all a scam.
It's all flat.
I try-
Exist.
No,
Okay, let me check. I think I don't have
Yeah.
any.
I don't know what to say to that, actually.
If you really believe.
In a sense, if you drain enough water, there are no islands.
Exactly. So
And if you add a lot of water, there's no island.
There's no island
Yeah.
either.
So it's all a matter of how much water you have.
We're all connected.
exactly.
That's the conclusion.
So now the philosophy.
Okay, we're fresh out of questions, and we can do this again some other time. I'm really happy we got to meet 3 new community members and spend this really fun hour with you guys.
Yeah. Thank
Yeah,
you
it
all
was
for
really
being
nice.
here.
Thank you so much,
Showing up.
and go wishlist our game if you haven't.